confiscate the money. That girl is a real proud beast. Small world, all her friends know me.
So we are back on an episode of the Reindeer MyLEAGUE here in 2K17. Last episode, it's another season of the Reindeer MyLEAGUE, and unfortunately we end up losing in the NBA Finals to our dear rivals, those Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks, great overall roster, they beat us fair and square in the finals, and I think it was 4 or 5, I think it was 6 games in the finals. Great overall series, but just not coming up with the W in the finals. But now, we had to go and do something just based on we lost in the finals. We had to go and rebuild slightly. So we ended up trading point guard Kemba Walker to the Brooklyn Nets for a guy who's going to be developing pretty fastly. His name is Daryl Maxwell. So Maxwell, 85 overall to start off the year. He was 82 overall when we acquired him. So he's jumped up a bit since we acquired him. And now we're actually prepared to go and make another finals appearance as we're #1 in the power rankings. So we're bound to go and maybe win another title in our franchise history, as we already have 3 titles so far, and I believe 8 or 9 seasons of this 12 Days of MyLEAGUE. So we're doing very good right now. 17-0, 18-0, 20-0 on the season. Could we go undefeated in the season? Probably not, just based on it's pretty hard to do, unless you're the Cincinnati Stingers who went undefeated one season. But we ended up losing to the Chicago Bulls after, I believe, 25 games, so at least it ended with a loss against the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls, pretty decent team so far in this MyLEAGUE. But right now, first in the West easily by, like, I don't know how many games. I think about 12 or 13 games right now. But 40-3 on the season so far. Not too bad of a record considering that. Or maybe might be able to go and beat the record for wins in a season just based on our team. Seems to be right the talent it has. But now your All-Stars this year, same old All-Stars. We have like 3 or 4 Bucks in there too. So they're doing very well with their All-Stars. But when it comes to the West, we finally have DeAndre Ayton and you have Kenny Knight this season. So Kenny Knight, 89 overall. He's just tearing up the league so far ever since we acquired him. I believe 3rd overall in that draft 2 years back. But now, dunk contest, we have Kenny Knight again. I believe he won it last year too. And then 3-point contest, we have Damian Lillard on the Bucks. Then it comes to the Stars, the same old, the usual rookies on there, and the Elites, same old rookies there. But now in the MVP talks right now, we have Wendell Haynes #1, and we do have Kenny Knight and DeAndre Ayton on there, obviously. But 6th man of the year, we do have Sharif O'Neal on there. So Sharif O'Neal, I'm hoping we can get him, squeak him into the starting roster next year. But DeAndre Ayton, obviously defensive player of the year so far right now on there. Most improved, we have Kenny Knight on there too. So Ayton, we re-signed him to a 3-year deal worth over $23 million. And that's a roster right now, as it looks like Maxwell and Josh Jackson are injured. So we have John Wall at point guard, as we signed John Wall in the free agency. I believe it was last year or the year before. But right now, Brandon Ingram and DeAndre Ayton tearing it up there in the All-Star tournament. There, 16 points, 13 boards for that one for DeAndre Ayton in that game. But trading is now allowed throughout the entire season, which means the trade deadline is practically abolished. So trading is allowed throughout the playoffs and the regular season here. As right now, we're 67-6 on the season. We're just absolutely killing it, and we're on pace to go and beat the NBA record for wins from the Warriors. And we do. I think it was 76-6, but it looks like Ben Simmons is MVP. We have Grayson Allen as 6th man of the year. DeAndre Ayton is defensive player of the year, the 5th time in a row. So Ayton, 5-time DPOY winner. Check DL is most improved on there. It takes forever for these guys cards to load because they're so late in the My GM. But Brett Brown does win Coach of the Year over, for some reason, Greg Popovich, even though Popovich had like way more wins than him. But when it comes to all NBA teams, no Reindeer in the top 3 there, but at least all defensive first team, we have DeAndre Ayton on there, and no Josh Jackson on the defensive second team too, which is pretty odd there. All rookie first team, no players there, and second team, no players there. We head into the first round of the playoffs, facing the New Orleans Pelicans. So the New Orleans Pelicans, they have Anthony Davis. If he's not injured, we could probably beat them there. But there's our players stat of the season, as we went and broke the NBA record for wins. A record of 76-6 on the season. We killed it as Pop as our coach. So right now, basically this season, Kenny Knight took over the team completely when it comes to points per game and everything. But Pelicans is our first round matchup in the quarterfinals. Is the Pelicans. They have Anthony Davis out 1 to 2 weeks. We could easily sweep him just based on our roster and how well he did in the regular season. So game 1, we take game 1, a couple of nothing here, 163-111 final. We demolished him by like 52 points in that one. It wasn't even close at all compared to the score. But game 2 of the quarterfinals, we take game 2 by a huge margin, 149-85. I'm not gonna even count how many points that is. It's way too many, the difference. But Kenny Knight drops 40 on the Pelicans here. As heading into game 3, we take game 3, the first game in New Orleans, as we win 131-117 final. So a close game there, I guess, compared to the last 2. But Sharif O'Neal, 25 points, 11 boards, and now in for a double-double. So we get game 4 of the quarterfinals. Should they go and sweep the Pelicans again? I believe the last time we faced them, we swept them again. But getting in game 4, we win this 126-116 final, as we go and sweep the Pelicans in the first round. As Jackson, 28 points, Maxwell, 32 points back in the roster, back in the lineup after injury. As they had no Anthony Davis, that's basically why they lost and didn't even win a game. But getting into the semifinals, we're facing the Miami Heat in the West once again. So the Miami Heat, I don't know why they're in the West. I guess they moved once we went into the league, but they do have, I believe, Henry Giles in there, who's really good, 90 overall. So game 1, we take game 1 anyway. To go 1-0 here. Kenny Knight 27 points now, and Sharif O'Neal 24 against the Heat. As Dennis Smith 21 against us, and Henry Giles 18-11 for a double-double there. But game 2, take that one to go up 2-0 here. We're now won like 5 games in a row, or even 6 games in a row actually. As Henry Giles puts up 19 points and 15 boards. Not enough to go and win that game. As game 3, we take it again to go up 3-0 here. As Harry Giles 20 and 16 in that game. Great game from him, but the rest of the Miami didn't show up. As Kenny Knight and the Reindeer 28 points in that one. I think the game fortunately go sweep back-to-back opponents here in the Heat and the Pelicans. We do 132-84 finals. You sweep back-to-back opponents here in this playoffs. So Kenny Knight, he got injured in this game, the bruised ribs day to day, as he puts up 24 points in that W against the Heat. As I don't know how many points that is, as I'm tired of doing math just based on how many points we beat teams by, as we beat them by huge margins every time we play at whatever team. But now we're facing the Houston Rockets here in the WCF, as they have no James Harden here, so James Harden could be injured here. As we have Kenny back out day to day with bruised ribs. We take game 1 anyway. 133-118 final for us, as Aiden puts 25 and 14, but Buddy Hield 32 in that game. Great overall game by him. And now game 2, we take game 2 to go up 3-0 here, as Maxwell puts up 25 in that one. Kenny Knight 25 and 11 for a double-double there, as our team is too dominant for Buddy Hield, and the Rockets is heading into game 3. We take game 3 now, going up 3-0 here. So we are undefeated so far in the playoffs. I don't know how many games we've won so far in a row, but Kenny Knight 24 in that one. As heading into game 4, trying to sweep all 3 opponents here in the finals, in the playoffs so far. We do not win that game, as we go and lose by 2 points there. 137-135 final, as we lose that first game in the playoffs. So Frank Jackson puts a decent amount of points there against us, 31 points against his former team, the team that drafted him and gave him a shot in the NBA. But heading into game 5, and we do 153-112 final. We destroy him, and we move on to the NBA Finals for I don't know how many years in a row now at this point. It's way too many to count, but Sharif puts up 30 points in that game. Sharif O'Neal really proving that he should probably be in the starting lineup next year when it comes to being in the NBA. But heading into the finals, we're facing either the 76ers or the Bucks. It's basically pick your poison at this point. But we face against the 76ers here in the playoffs once again, as we beat them last time. But now in the finals, they're a different team, I guess. They have more experienced Ben Simmons, and it looks like half the roster is injured once again. So game 1, we take game 1 this game. 132-75 final, not even close in this game, as it looks like the Reindeer just played way too good against these 76ers. Okafor 16 points, Ben Simmons 10, and at least 15 rebounds or 16 rebounds, and that one for a double-double there. Heading to game 2, we take game 2 to go 2-0 here in the series, 120-101 final, as Sharif puts up 16 points in that one. And we just played way too good again for those 76ers, but looks like Don Ochich puts up 25, and Ben Simmons, decent game there, I guess. Betting to game 3, first game in Philly, as the 76ers actually take this one over 14, 103 final, as they make it a 2-1 series for us in these finals, as I guess Ben Simmons had a great game, a triple-double, 23, 14, and 11 is his stats. 5 steals in that game, just completely dominated us in game 3 of the finals. But heading to game 4 first, another game in Philly, but we win 117-109 final, as we go up 3-1 here in the finals once again. So it looks like everyone's playing very well in our team. Ben Simmons 31-14 for a double-double there for the 76ers, but the rest, besides Doncic, Okafor, and Simmons, they're basically screwed at this point. Their bench, not as good as our bench, and as experienced, obviously, too, but in game 5, you're trying to go and take, I believe, our 4th NBA championship here in our franchise's history.
And they've done it, the new NBA champions. What a moment it is right now to see the team who played so well together enjoying, Clark, this NBA championship moment.
Well, Kevin, it's awesome to be here to witness what happened tonight.
And seeing this team come together over the course of the season and on into the playoffs, what a joy. I mean, there is no better champion the league could have asked for.
And a pleasure here at 2K Sports to be with you all season long. Good night, everyone.
So we beat the 76ers here once again in the finals and take our 4th NBA championship here in our history, as Kenny Knight puts up 24 points in that W, 10 for 20 shooting, 50% from the field. This great overall leader and Kenny Knight throughout this entire playoffs, though. He played so well in the regular season plus the playoffs. It's unbelievable. But Ben Simmons 22 and 25 and that one for double-double there. But anyway, DeAndre Ayton is your finals MVP once again, as He's DPOY this season, should have been an All-NBA member but wasn't, but he wins Finals MVP anyway. The most important thing is he won a ring and a Finals MVP, but heading to playoff stats, one that I'm actually kind of surprised wasn't involved much was actually Josh Jackson. So Josh Jackson kind of taking a backseat to Kenny Knight and DeAndre Ayton here in the North Pole. But heading to the player retirement, so we do have Chris Paul as a member of the LA Lakers. So he finally hit to the Lakers like he should have a few years back when David Stern declined that trade. He should have actually approved that trade. But anyway, going on the next thing, which is James Harden retiring here in the NBA. So James Harden leaves the NBA here. Maybe, I don't know, James Harden would be nice to go and put him on the coaching staff, but DeMar DeRozan does retire too. So DeMar, he retires, I believe, as a free agent there. Should have retired as a member of the Raptors, but Derrick Rose retires also as a member of the free agency. So a huge free agent, a huge retiree class. So you have Tyler Zeller, DeMar DeRozan, James Harden, Chris Paul, and even Seth Curry, the legend, the better Curry, I guess. Actually, no, he's not the better Curry, but when it comes to the next thing, which is league meetings, backcourt violation just is abolished, though. It's gone. As you into the draft lottery, the Raptors are the first overall pick here. Second, I believe, is the Warriors or OKC. There, I don't know who gets it, but the Warriors win the first overall pick here. Second is the Raptors, and third is the Atlanta Hawks. I believe we do have like the 21st overall pick there, but staff signings, you go and sign David Fizdale, the Fizz, and James Harden as our assistant coach. So we got the Fizz and we got the Harden. Now let's move on to the NBA draft.
With the first pick in the NBA draft, the Golden State Warriors select Grant Doyle. With the second pick in the NBA draft, the Toronto Raptors select Archie Justice from the University of Iowa. With the third pick in the NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Keith Jeter from the University of Kentucky. We have a trade to announce. With the fourth pick in the NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Marvin Hill from the University of Oklahoma. With the fifth pick in the NBA draft, the Washington Wizards select William Shelton from Iowa State University. We have a trade to announce. With the sixth pick in the NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves select Rudolph Malone from Arizona State University. We have a trade to announce. With the seventh pick in the NBA draft, the San Antonio Spurs select Tim Barker from Virginia Tech. We have a trade to announce. With the eighth pick in the NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select the 21-year-old point guard from the University of Tennessee. With the ninth pick in the NBA draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Clifford Bass from the University of Maryland. With the 10th pick in the NBA draft, the Denver Nuggets select Bert Jinks from George Washington University. The 21st pick in the NBA draft, Matthew Dean from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. We have a trade to announce.
This is easily one of the worst draft classes I've ever seen. 72 overall, goes first overall. That is not good at all. Beforehand, I wanted to go trade all my picks for this draft, but I only had one pick in this draft, so it didn't really matter too much what I even get out of that pick in the 21st overall. But 21st overall, we select the Dean, Matthew Dean, 68 overall, 21 years old, almost as good as the first overall pick. So this draft class is one of the worst ones I've ever seen, basically. Matthew Dean, C potential, he's not going to really be anything at all. As we go and approve all our options for our team, as Ben Simmons accepts his, obviously Ned accepts his team option here because we make them. And team options, though, Jason Tatum declines his player option. And we're going to go and basically qualify Maxwell, our starting point guard at this point. So Maxwell, trying to go and re-sign him, 85 overall. We re-sign AJ Hammons because he's a beast in the playoffs. And Daryl Maxwell, we try to sending him to a $23.2 million contract for 5 years. And Paul Strickland, might as well try and sign him too. Malachi Richardson, though, we re-signed to a 3-year deal. Hopefully he signs. But your free agents are Fred O'Neal, Brandon Ingram, Jason Tatum, Russell Westbrook, and a whole bunch of other great free agents. So great free agent class here, terrible draft class, but we gotta go and try and sign Maxwell, Malachi, and AJ Hammons. But we cannot sign Malachi here as he don't have enough room. But basically, at this point, we want Sharif to start at center, so we go put up Nikola Jokic to the Denver Nuggets here for a first-round pick. And we gotta go and accept this trade anyway. Tyler Lydon and a first-round pick for him basically works. So we get a first-round pick out of Jokic here. He's gone. He's back in Denver. As you go and finally sign Malachi, AJ, and Daryl. So one man who can't sign though is Paul Strickland, as he's really not that good anyway. But heading into the draft summit here, there's a lot of great talent in the next draft, obviously. 81 overall, 84 overall winter there. We have Dwight Howard Jr., 79 overall. I want to get Dwight Howard Jr. basically. He's going to be a beast in the NBA. Look at all his stats, though. He does not look like a center, yet he plays center. So, got to get Dwight Howard Jr., as Paul Millsap Jr. is also in there too. So, the two juniors there of former NBA players. But anyway, guess on this episode offer here, finally we do have Sharif in the starting lineup here. I want to see that next year. And thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.